Many small towns and cities across north central Florida are growing, including Newberry. TV 20's Kayla Lewis talked to the mayor and tells us how he's reacting to this growth.
The city of Newberry is growing, whether that means new businesses or new residents, and Mayor Jordan Marlowe doesn't want that to take away from the small town feel. As the city grows, Newberry is welcoming in new businesses and residents to the region. Just weeks ago, city officials broke ground on a new Publix. They say discussions are taking place about a proposed 4,500 home development, which would be built over 50 years.
You know, when you're a small town and you're used to knowing everybody, just a little bit of growth can make you uncomfortable. And we understand that, and so we've been working extra hard to make sure we're doing small town stuff, bringing the folks together.
One resident I spoke with says growth is great for the city as it may profit from it. However, others think before there are new developments, there needs to be another school built to deal with the overcapacity. Mayor Marlowe tells me starting Monday, a property appraiser will be at the Mentholee Norfleet Municipal Building. The mobile pop-up event will assist residents with tax information such as homestead exemptions. The property appraiser will be in town each weekday through Friday, February 2nd from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. In Newberry, Kayla Lewis, TV 20 News.